Hey, folks. I was listening to Kendra's latest video, reinforcing the dream, and where she talks about how this Disney princess fantasy is actually sold to women, especially black women, and how it actually plays out in so many different ways. And she especially pointed to two particular people, Kim Kardashian and Centoya Brown, for different reasons. One was, she had gotten passed around and slept with a lot of women. The other one, Centoya Brown, where she actually was a drug addict and a prostitute and a murderer. And they wound up getting dudes with status and money. But there's a section that I'm going to play that actually floored me. I mean, really floored me. I had to actually tell her that that shit was so much truth. I had to go get a drink because I said, "Goddamn." So I had to shake my head, said, "Goddamn." My Islam sister actually nailed it, and she nailed it to a point where it's so simple that I couldn't refute it. There was nothing I could refute about it, because even though I don't like it, I don't like what she said, even though it was a hard, cold truth. So hard, cold truth. I don't like what she said, but the thing is, I had to go get a drink and calm my ass down, because when she said it, I wanted to throw the bottle across the room because I was so angry. It's not because I wasn't angry at her, at Kendra, because Kendra's just a messenger. I was angry at the truth that she was laying out, because it was so cold and so true and so accurate that it couldn't be refuted. And a lot of black women carry that, carry this ideal. I'm not even talking about just the youngsters, the 15-year-olds. I'm talking about the 55, 65-year-olds still carry this ideal. And I hear this ideal not only from young men, but also older men. And you kind of, how it's right on the tip of your tongue, where you almost know where it came from. But the truth is so brutal that you just can't imagine it. Even for a black pill dude like me, you just can't imagine it, that it's just that simple. And that grown up people, even though women are sometimes can be illogical and feeling based, their reality is so distorted in their brains that they could even think this way. And before you guys actually jump all over Kendra, okay, because I've only selected like 15 minutes of like an hour and a half video, because I didn't want this particular thing to be too long. So I only took the 15 minutes that floored me. And that's what I'm going to share with you. But before you actually, criticize her, at least if you're going to criticize her, go to her, hit the link, go to her channel, actually look at her whole argument. Don't just take the piece that I selected, because that would be unfair to her. And the last time I did it, a lot of guys came in and were unfair to her about what she said and didn't hear the whole video. And the only reason I didn't play the whole video is because of time. I didn't want it to be a 2-hour video, even though she's laying down a lot of truth. And when Kendra gets in a zone to actually, talking about something, especially like this, from an 87, from the common girls aspect, it's shit so real you can't really argue with it. So I'm gonna play this 15-minute segment of Kendra's video, and I'll be back on the other side to give my closing thoughts about this.
Which is true. Ashley, Katz, and Wolf all bring up the same thing about the looks and the class of the women, which is true. But see, this is why the programming is what it is, and why your run-of-the-mill woman will buy into it, even if she knows she's not the chick that's gonna get in front of no NBA player or NFL player. She knows she's not that chick. She'll go for the highest dude in her range. She'll try. And then she'll wonder why that dude that makes several times less money than an NBA guy, not as famous, not as cute, why he would not accept her with a sketchy past, but a higher tier man that she cannot get will accept a woman with a publicly sketchy past and wife her. You understand the correlation I'm trying to make in her mind? I'm not saying, I'm not qualifying it as making sense or not, or being logical. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying this is what's in her mind. Okay. The dude she's going for is of a lower tier than the dude she see on TV. Especially monetarily. Now, we ain't even talking about what kind of person he is. We just talking about his resources. And she'll figure, well, you're a lower tier man than that man over there. Now, while I can't get to that man, I'm looking at the types of women, even that man whom I assume is at the highest tier of men in this society. He's choosing women that are murderers and whores just off the basis that they cute. Which reinforces another point for her. She doesn't need to have a personality that's worth anything. She doesn't need to have femininity. She doesn't need to have sense. She doesn't need to have any integrity. She doesn't need to have any honor. She doesn't need to be truthful. She don't need to be honest. She don't need none of that. All she need is a big ass, a little waist, a decent to pretty face, and smile at you and give you some ass. That's all she needs. That's all she figures she needs. Because if these men are choosing women who have been nothing more than publicly known whores, and in Centoya's case, a first-degree convicted felon murderer, can pull a man and have that man to wife her, surely I can get this nigga with the CTA job. Because I look good in my area. I done, tried to get the little hourglass shape best I can. And I done watched a lot of YouTube videos on how to beat my face. I done watched a lot of YouTube videos on how to get my lace front just right. I done got waist trainers and shapewear and booty pumpers and titty pushers. I done got all of that. How dare the men in my sphere that I could get to, how dare he not wife me? When these higher tier men are choosing women irrespective of who she is, just off the fact that she's fine. And while I may not be as fine as her, I'm going to show act like it. I'm going to call myself a bad bitch until I believe it. And I'm going to call myself a bad bitch until he believe it. So how dare he have a standard? Because if the higher tier men don't got no standard other than she got to be fine, then the lower tier men, that's your standard too. This one reason why you have the cognitive dissonance. This is why you have women with the pushback on y'all, when y'all say y'all want a woman of substance, y'all want a woman that, got some character to her, and, she got these other facets and elements of being a woman. This is why y'all are getting the eyebrow like, no, that's not what y'all want. Y'all want these thoughts, and y'all want her to have a little waist, some big titties, a big ass, a decent face, and a good lace front. That's what you want. And you want her to talk slick, and you want her to be able to fuck you like a porn star. Now, I don't know how you think I'm going to get that porn star experience without actually doing what porn stars do. That's why you get one of these. Like, that's not what y'all don't want a woman like that. This is why they won't change. Because it keep getting reinforced. She don't understand how is it that these lower tier men want better women than the higher tier men have. That's what she's looking at. It's meant to do that to her. The way the society pushes these narratives are meant to make her think this. And then she acted out. Because nobody is applauding Kim K or Sierra or any of these chicks. Nobody is applauding them on how they are as women. Nobody's applauding them on that. Nobody's celebrating Beyonce because she's so good-hearted. They're celebrating her because she light-skinned with a big ass, and she can sing and dance and shake her ass. That's why they celebrate her. That's why she does this, because the programming has set her up to believe that if the higher class man only want a thought, because let's just face it, 100 octanes belong to the community until they get that final bag, then surely the lower tier man, lower tier as far as finances is concerned, surely he can't want more than that. He can't. It's not possible for him to want more than that. He want that. If the higher dude want that, then he want that at his level. Several problems wrong. Several things wrong with the premise. The first thing wrong with the premise is the definition of higher tier and lower tier man. What makes a man higher or lower tier? Is it his money or is it his masculinity? Because there's a reason why these men with a lot of money will wife a whore. Because he's higher tier resources wise. He's on the bottom scale masculinity wise, because he's a matriarchal minion. Because only a matriarchal minion would want and not mind to simp after a woman like that. See, because now we got to define who's a higher tier and lower tier male. Because what we have to remember is in this society, your level of masculinity or lack thereof does not necessarily dictate what kind of money you're going to have. Because I'm willing to wager there are a lot of blue pill simps that are rich. Because you're not going to be able to convince me that the majority of NFL players are red pill men and masculine. I've met men that don't make nearly as much money as that are better men. They're just better men. He may not be making seven figures, but he's a better man. He's a higher tier male. It is what it is. I know personally some men that do not make 7 or 8 figures, may not ever make that in one go in their lifetime. But his thinking, who he is as a man, actually makes him higher tier male. Because you can be one of the lamest dudes ever and be rich and have all kinds of money. Do we really think that Mark Zuckerberg is an alpha male or a high tier male as far as his masculinity is concerned? Do we really think that, or do we think he awkward socially? Because I think the nigga is awkward socially. I wouldn't chill with him, but except if I'm trying to get some business done or trying to learn something as far as that's concerned. I sit for that. Want to know how to launch an online business? I sit for that. But as far as looking at him and being like, yeah, even if he didn't have no money, even if he wasn't a billionaire, he'd be a higher tier male. Mm-mm. He only get the shine he get because he got the money. That is what it is. And I'm drawing these distinctions because they need to be drawn. Because I'm tired of dudes and women thinking that the more money a man has defines and can tell you about what kind of man he is. It can tell you something. I mean, he may be a go-getter. He was smart in some way, was able to get the money. Not saying he got to be dumb.
Okay, we're back. And Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys grasp what I heard or grasp what the message that I got, that women's minds are comparators. In other words, they're comparing themselves, not only themselves, but us to higher, what they call so-called higher tier people or higher class people as far as money and status wise. And they're looking at the kind of women that these guys get. Now, 100 octane men, even though we don't see all of them, we see the celebrities, and we only see the celebrity lives that actually go wrong. But they're looking at these shows and these dysfunctional people that are at the top, and they're comparing those men to us and those women to themselves. And when she said that basically if Kanye West gets a Kim K that's been passed around 100 times and has been the institutional whore for 100 octane men, and he wipes her up and gives her 2 kids, the rest of the circumstances behind the marriage don't matter. In other words, Negro, you down here and you barely make $35,000 a year, and you have no right to ask for better. In other words, you have no right to ask for somebody that has integrity, that doesn't have a whole lot of bodies on her vagina, or a right to ask for a woman that ain't been passed around 100 times. Because if it's good for Kanye West, it's good for you too. And all the snark and all the other stuff that you see on Love and Hip Hop, and all the lip that these higher tier, higher class dudes take from their women, if they can take it and they like it and they accept it, you know what, Negro, you and your $30,000 or $50,000 or $60,000 should take it too. Same thing with this dude in Centoya Brown. Now, we have no idea why this dude married a chick that was a former prostitute, former drug addict, and still a murderer. Marry her in prison and you're a high status dude. And the way they're projecting her is that she's better than him, which most black women do. Because his ex-wife is warning her about him like he's no good. Should watch out for him. Now, he's the one that has to worry about when he falls asleep if this chick's not going to go down to the basement, pick out a pistol and blow his brains out. But like Kendra was saying, if this dude could take a woman with the past that Centoya Brown has, wife her up, and try to make a family with her, and he's a higher status dude because he's been married to women that were of upper class that had money and status. He's marrying her. He's a better dude than the rest of us. So if a dude like him that's way up here will take a chick like her with a bad past and a bad history, then a regular chick that has a weave and a big behind is better than her. So how come you can't take her? Because basically this dude who's a higher status took her, and you're not even close to him. You ain't earning the kind of money that he's earning. You should be happy to take a chick. And if you're only making $20,000, you should be happy to take a baby mama with 4 kids and overweight and a bad attitude. Because also it's all a matter of degrees. And the kind of personality that I have or the value to me is not important, because guess what? Better men take it. NBA ball players get strippers pregnant. In fact, one NBA player, do believe, just married a stripper that he got pregnant. So automatically, if you're a lower tier dude, quote unquote, and you get your chick pregnant, you're supposed to marry the same way. Because guess what? Higher tier dudes are doing it. And you, how dare you ask for some more? How dare you ask for a woman that's kind to you? How dare you ask for a woman that's cooperative? How dare you ask for a woman that's decent? Because these dudes up here that could get it, should get it, and should ask for it aren't asking for it. And this is what they want, so it has to be what you want. because you look up to them. Screwed up society. And that's what pisses me off. That this society is, because it's a capitalist society and we're judged on money, women use that as a barometer. And they use that as a pecking order. And not only put themselves in it, but also us in it. And just because they believe it, that this is the pecking order and this is the way the world's supposed to go, they believe that we're supposed to follow suit. And when we don't, they get angry. And we don't want them, they get pissed off. When we don't want them, they get mad because they look at these dudes and say, these are the kind of women that they want, with the plastic face and the plastic hair and the hydrogel booty and the silicone titties and the slick talking mouth that can actually suck a golf ball through a chrome tailpipe. Now, the chrome tailpipe and the golf ball, she might get some points for that. But that slick talk and that non-cooperative attitude does not make her wife material. And for Kendra to actually admit it means that this society and these women may be screwed up beyond all belief. And maybe dudes need to throw in the towel. Because even if they kind of come back and kind of be cooperative, they're so programmed with this bullshit that can never be worked out of them. As a black pill person, I can't depend on hope. I have to look at the reality as it is. And if our women are this screwed up, our women and we actually follow and fantasize about love and hip hop or Housewives of Atlanta, and they see this crap going on and want to duplicate it in their own lives with us, black men may just have to hop that fence and go elsewhere. So I'm starting to understand why the black men in Los Angeles don't deal with black women. I mean, really, because I've asked this question before, but nobody has ever broken it down to the point to where I have to admit that this is the case. And even though I hate saying it, SYSBM brothers, we all we got. Choose the best woman for you and keep it pushing. With that, I'm going to jump off here. This is BGS out, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.